Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Door to Door. I'm Virginia Stanley.
I'm Lainey Mays.
And I'm Lisa Harding. Sorry.
No, Lisa, you're the main event.
Jumped in
there. Lisa Harding, we are so honored to have you on today. We have been so looking forward to talking to you about your book, Bright Burning Things, which has just wrapped itself around our hearts. It is a powerful and raw and authentic and heart-filled book that I don't know. I haven't spoken to somebody yet who hasn't read it and just gone, oh my God. So we'll back up and do a brief bio and a little intro, and then we'll talk about this amazing novel. So you, writer, actress, playwright, you received your Master's of Philosophy in Creative Writing from Trinity College, Dublin in 2014. Your short stories have been published in the Dublin Review. Your first novel, Harvesting, won the 2018 Kate O'Brien Award and was shortlisted for an Irish Book Award and the Kerry Group Irish Novel of the Year. That book was not published by HarperCollins, but I can't wait to talk to you about that book too. Your debut, your American debut, Bright Burning Things, which we are publishing in goes on sale in December of 2021, is this powerful, visceral, tender, brave portrait of addiction, recovery, and motherhood. There is so much to unpack in this book. These characters are so fully fleshed out. There's so much heart in this book. And Lisa, thank you so much for joining us today to talk about Bright Burning Things.
Thank you so much for having me, because I absolutely adore watching you guys. I was just saying I loved the Willie Vlotton interview there recently. But yeah, thank you. It's a real honor to be here from Dublin.
From Dublin.
Yay.
And I love that you love our Willie Vlotton interview, because we, as you know, Chris Connolly.
Love his work. But I've also loved all your interviews. I mean, I've watched quite a few of them, but that was a highlight.
Oh, wow.
This song.
Yeah, the song. He's wonderful.
He writes with heart.
He does write with heart. He writes songs and stories with heart. Yeah. He's just lovely. So anybody who's out there who has not listened to us talk about Willie Vlotton.
Yeah, it's an amazing interview. Yeah.
Listen to Lisa Harding.
Yeah.
So Bright Burning Things has received great acclaim on your side of the pond. From the Observer, we can talk about all these raves when Library Journal has given it a starred review. The Guardian loved it. Publishers Weekly gave it a starred review. It said this unflinching portrait of a troubled, tender soul takes readers to the depths of the human heart. Library Journal starred review said, through Harding's realistic writing, one feels the profound desperation and pain of addiction. Readers won't soon forget this viscerally raw immersion into addiction. There's one other quote I'd like to read, which I have been reading because I absolutely love this quote so much, because she uses a word that I have used to describe this book. This is Lisa Taddeo, author of Three Women. She says, on every page, there are little shimmering bombs. Like Room, where parenthood is at once your jail and your salvation, it is almost claustrophobic, but in the most glorious way.
That was the most extraordinary thing for me to receive, because I adore Lisa Taddeo. I thought Three Women was extraordinary, and Room is one of my favorite novels of all time. So to get both of them in the same day was a little overwhelming, but wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Yeah,
I bet. So we talked a little bit before about how kind of hard it is to succinctly wrap up what this book is, because yes, it is about a woman who is the mother to a young boy who she is absolutely in love with. She loves this boy more than anything, and that it's so clear on every page, on every exchange that they have. They're so connected. And yet she has a disease. We've said this is not a love for the bottle. It's,
Mm.
I don't see it that way. I see it as it's a disease. And so she's got this pull. Can you just talk a little bit about the main character and what you want readers to know about her? It's hard to talk about
Okay,
this book and not ruin it. So I don't
yeah,
want
I know. No, but in brief, Sonia is an Irish actress. I was an actress for years, a former actress or a thwarted actress, if you like. So highly charged woman who has an addictive personality and latches on to anything. And at the time we meet her, I mean, men, attention, her little boy, actually, it's quite an addictive motherhood bond. So everything with her is intense. She feels too much and she finds it very difficult to manage those impulses. So I think the thing about her addiction at the time we meet her is it's absolutely, she is now full-blown alcoholic, because I think, as an actress, and I know this, you get very high on attention, you can go, you fly off. Ruby Wax has written brilliantly about that particular addiction, and then how it flies around, looking for attention, kind of getting out of your skin, and when that's gone, she picks up the bottle to try to recreate that high and then to try to soothe herself. But she is addictive and this takes hold of her. So the time we meet her, it's very dangerous for her and her little boy. And she's at a point of mania. And she's at a point where there has to be intervention or the little boy is in danger. So does that kind of, yeah. And then we follow her through. We do go through a 3-month stint in rehab, but it's not a classic tale of recovery. Is it ever? I don't know. I mean, it's never smooth sailing, is it? But certainly there is hope, there is magic, there is a spiritual connection, there is, there's possibility, I think, for her and her little boy and her rescue dog, he's a huge character in the novel and she treats as another little boy. So yeah, there's a lot of love. She kind of suffers with the surfeit of love, I think.
Yes, I agree with you. We talked about this and said I feel it's sort of like a love story on a lot of levels.
Yeah.
She has a lot of love to give, but she is all over the place.
Yeah. She's got a lot of trauma as well in her past life that she hasn't faced. And when you put down something like acting, and I know this personally, you're filled with a void. And all that stuff can kind of hit you. And I think it's interesting with COVID, because I have a lot of friends who are performers, singers, songwriters, actors, performers, and they've all said that. I think a lot of us that are drawn to that world are running from something. A lot of us, not everybody, but and channeling it. And it's a wonderful way to release stuff. But when that's gone as an outlet, you're faced with this void and this, all the stuff from her past comes up. That happens in recovery for a lot of people when they're forced to sit still.
Yeah, that's funny. That's the word I was thinking of, is release. Because if you're so supercharged and you're that's your when the light is on you, and that's your jam, and that's what's going, that's what feeds your soul.
Yes.
But not an easy life, and so not an easy profession, certainly now too. But then you've made this switch, and I wonder what that switch is like, from going from the performing arts to the written arts.
So as a human being, I think, I really channeled that into Sonia, my character. It's really difficult, but okay, for me personally, it was a positive choice because I knew I could write. I had written plays and I had discovered that I had this voice, and I thought actually my career wasn't going the way I wanted to go. Whose does? I wasn't Kate Winslet or Kate Blanchett, or it wasn't happening that way, and I was doing things that was really frustrating me. I was speaking lines that I didn't believe in, new writing, and I thought I can do this. So for me, I'm very lucky because I have another outlet, but I know that it's lethal if you put it down and there's nowhere to put it. And that's what my character Sonia, it's lethal for her because she's nowhere to put it. It's an incredible charge, that performance high.
Right. Can you, lady, and jump in whenever you want, lady, because I'm just going to babble like a brook.
Well, since we're talking about recovery, we were talking a little bit before, I didn't know like
Mm.
in Ireland, especially, like what those programs are like? And can you talk about that program and any, I don't want to say research, but like anything you knew about that going in, or things you had to learn while you were writing?
Yeah, no, I didn't have to do any research because somebody I love somebody who's very close to me in my life has been in and out of this particular place. And in Ireland, we don't have state free rehab. We have rehab run by religious institutions. They're wonderful. They literally pick people off the street. You know, they will pick people coming out of prison, but it's all run by religious institutions. In Ireland, that's Catholic, or we have Christian, but where this particular person has been is Catholic. And I struggled with it because not everybody, first of all, is Catholic. We all know about the 12 steps, and it talks a lot about God. And I the person who's very close to me really struggled with this one size fits all approach to recovery. So I thought that was really interesting. It's like putting this highly charged, highly intelligent, highly kind of articulate woman into this environment where she's being told there's only one way. So, you know, really often addiction, as everybody who knows who's dealt with it, and so many people have in various forms, it's a dual diagnosis, isn't it? It's never just alcoholism. There's always something underneath. And I've done loads of in my own life because it's touched me, it's formed me actually. You know, there's lots of studies around trauma, and I don't know if you guys know Gabor Mate, but I'm interested in his approach. It's a different approach. But I think there's something beautiful about the 12 steps too. And I think if somebody can find that spiritual connection, then it can actually kind of help fill that. I guess it's a hole inside, isn't it? But you know, I questioned it too. I didn't fully kind of lean into it. I think there was no psychiatric assessment in these places. There's no actual trained psychologists. All of the people that counsel are 12-step advocates. They've gone through the program. And in the book, there's an issue with boundaries, as we know, with one of the counselors. And that happens. And that's an absolute violation of trust, where a man, you know, I think Sonia is a very attractive young woman, and she's vulnerable and she's grappling with her recovery, and he comes into her life and he senses her vulnerability, and how much of that is conscious or not, I don't know, because he's in recovery. But you know, it's a dangerous situation when you have two recovered people put together like that. And his role was to hold her in recovery, and he actually violated that boundary. Now, I've seen that happen.
I honestly thought that was a fantasy.
Oh yeah, well,
When I was reading, I'm like, oh, she's
fantasizing
about
that.
this. Oh, this is actually happening.
Yeah.
It's really, I think that's one of the things that one of the many reasons that I feel that this book has such just this real, true, different, authentic ring to it, because you're not doing this 12-step thing. You are, but it's like, it's really, you're kind of going around, you know, and you, and the way that they interact with each other, it doesn't seem structured in the way that would be here. And you know what I mean? And I just think
it's chaotic, actually.
It is chaotic, but it's also that's what she would expect. Hard to talk about this. People are going, what are they talking about? You've got to pick this book up because there's so much, I don't know, there's this love for this boy she loves this child so much, too much at one point. It's just like, you're going to suffocate this kid with love, you know? And, but she can't seem to fill this other void in her life. And as you go on and you learn about her, you know, see her relationship with her father, and you look at these glimpses into her life, you think, oh, okay, this is coming together here, you know. But she's a great character. She's funny and she's badass and she's sassy mouth. I love her.
She's filthy mouthed.
But she is.
I thought it was interesting because I felt that as I was writing her, and there's a nun in the rehab who's actually rather wonderful. They're not all, we all know this, but she says to her, do you think your alcoholism is linked to becoming a mother? So do you think there was some trigger for you? And Sonia has to face that. And she says, actually, her own experience of motherhood is obfuscated. Her mum died when she was very young, and there was trauma there, but she's kind of forgotten it, and it's all blurred, and nobody told her the truth. So yes, becoming a mother also triggered this kind of inability to cope. You know, even though she thought, oh, she glamorized it in her mind before. She thought, I'm going to be a beautiful mother. And she remembered her mother in terms of beautiful smells and smiles and kind of, you know, her mother. And she has this memory. I don't know if you remember, because I wrote it in a way that memory works, which is quite flitty and jittery. So she has a scene, she remembers the scene where her mother kind of, it's her birthday, and her mother, she's very young, and her mother covers her in glitter, and she's dressed up and she's dancing to ABBA, and she's wearing a tutu, and it's all really high. So she had that experience, but she doesn't really remember her. She remembers a feeling of spinning and being out of control around her mother. And that's what she's now doing in her life. And that's what she's doing to little Tommy, her little boy.
Yeah. And so there's that, and we don't really know. You get a glimpse into what, because that's not normal, what's happening there. It's like, it's, you're celebrating your child's birthday, but it's a little off the hook. But then also, I think that there's a mention in the book. There's definitely the uncle. I thought that, maybe I'm wrong, that there was an aunt and an uncle on either side of the parents who had alcoholism. So I thought, oh, that's a double whammy there too.
But hey, isn't it often the way? I mean, it's, you know, we know, like, there's so many studies done around it, but, you know, listen, it's genetic as well as chemical, as well as, you know, a reaction to trauma. It's so many things. But yes, absolutely. I think every Irish family shake the family tree, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
really?
You better get the rake out fast, clean up the lawn.
Yeah.
But I think it's also important to note that, if for anyone watching this who hasn't yet read the book, okay, so you get the idea. That's what this book is about. But I love Tommy. I love this little munchkin who is just making excuses and working around her. And then he has to go through his own process when finally it's like, this has to stop. And now we have to take you, mother, and address you. And then what happens to Tommy? You know, and then all those other characters that are in and out of her life. And of course the dog. Can we talk about the dog a little bit more?
Talk about the dog. So yeah, I'm obsessed. So yeah, Herbie is this wonderful big rescue dog, and he kind of offers this security, stability. He soaks up a lot of the anxiety in the family. He's a brother to little Tommy, and he's also, like, Sonia sees him as a kind of surrogate son. And I know that one because I rescued a little thing from the pound. Will I show you? But yes, she's not like Herbie. She's really small, and she's asleep now, and she's very old. But this thing of, you know, the beauty of she's so cute. Yeah, the beauty of animals, and how they're so kind. I think Herbie's a part of her recovery, actually. Do you know? Just the pureness of that love, and also a toddler, obviously. But yeah, it's interesting you say about Tommy, because my first few drafts were much more from Tommy's perspective. And I thought, I'm interested in the child of the alcoholic and what happens, and even maybe the genesis of the addict. Little Tommy's already obsessed with the highs and the mania, and he loves it. He gets off on it. And so, God love him, he's programmed really young. Right. And then he gets really into fire, right? He literally gets into fire.
Yep.
Yeah, so I was interested very much in that perspective. But then as I started to write, that's what I thought this book was, much more the child of the alcoholic. And then Sonia, it just started to fascinate me. And I think it was an act of empathy on my part, because I'm not alcoholic, but to climb inside the head. But I've been very affected by people who are. So, and I removed his voice from the pages. I had written chapters in his voice, and I removed them. And I think it's a stronger novel because I feel there's more anxiety. So the reader's reading it and thinking, with Sonia, where is he? Whereas before I had filled in the gaps.
Yeah.
And I also think he's a real presence. You know, when you write and you write and you write and you write draft after draft after draft, which this novel was, he's very much present, even though he doesn't get his own chapters or scenes, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you can feel him there,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
so sweet. He's been so exposed to so much stuff in four
I
little
know.
years, you
I
know.
know. He's a little adult almost. He's
He
happy.
is.
Yeah. Yeah. He
Yeah, of
minds his mommy, and you know, that happens. Yeah.
course, sadly.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um, so and you are not a mother, you don't have children, but this relationship is,
Interesting, isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah,
It's
but you've
like,
got it. I mean, it's just that's what I love about this. I mean, this relationship is comes off the pages, you know.
yeah. That was interesting because I think my whole life I thought I had this desire. I thought in this kind of, you know, a romantic way, what amazing to be a mother, but I don't have a clue. And I just thought I'm going to get it all wrong. And I'm so frightened of, I guess, handing stuff down that I was really channeling that in a character, right? Somebody who does, you know, does make that choice that me as a young actress, I used to play with that choice and think, I'm not very stable in myself, in my life. And if this were to happen, you know, what would be the consequences? So,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
It's interesting. And thank you for showing us your dog Faye. Doesn't look like
She's
a dog.
asleep.
She's
She's the opposite. But growing up, we had big, huge, shaggy dogs. We
yeah.
always
Oh,
had them.
okay.
Amazing big rescue dogs. I adore them. If I lived in a bigger place, I'd have a gang of them.
Well, I can understand why, but you know, you've given us the dog in the book, and yeah, I'm not even going to go there because it's just so good. You have to read it. Can we talk a little bit about your first book and what's going on with that? Because we know that it's been optioned, and do you want to talk about that and any news that you want to share about that book or Bright Burning?
Yeah, so that was interesting for me because that was I was involved in a campaign for a while about sex trafficking of children, really dreadful stuff. And anyway, I ended up writing a novel. I didn't think I would, but I did. And for all the right reasons, I needed to kind of raise awareness and talk about it. And this is happening on our shores. It's happening everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
So that novel, then it was a difficult sell, as you can imagine, and it didn't get to America. Who knows? But you know, it stayed in Ireland and France. The French love the dark stuff. And so and it then got optioned by, I don't know if you guys know the Dairy Girls. Has it traveled over? Oh yeah, it's very, very funny and wonderful. And so the producer on that now and the director on that optioned my book, and I have been writing the adaptation, and we are we're working with the British film industry, which is a real honor. But it's all new for me. It's all new. You know, I have never written film before. But I think it was a very, very visual book. And so the same producer has optioned this one, Bright Burning Things. So yeah, really wonderful. I think I'm very lucky because I think my acting training lent the way I write. I came to writing very late, but I think, you know, the way I write is quite visual and quite immersive. And so people in the cinema world think, I can see that. Yeah. And there's a lot of dialogue. Yeah. Thank you. I'm muted, Virginia. Oh, there you
Yeah.
yeah.
And the fact that you wrote this in her first person, so you're getting everything
present tense as well.
Yeah,
Very, very intense. Yeah.
It really does feel like you can see it. I mean, I can see it. And
I lived with her for 3 years. I was mad. I was mad after, and then I got even madder because then COVID came.
Yeah.
And I was grounded. And I experienced all that isolation, and I thought, oh my God, I've written this character, and now here I am.
Exactly.
Did it change any while you were writing? Like, did you write in the pandemic, and did that change?
No, I'm writing another novel now.
Okay,
a different novel. Yeah. No, but I did think, ooh, she's a little bit prescient, a bit scary.
Yeah, that is interesting. I really, it's interesting because you said she has this addictive personality. So like acting, she's addicted to this, I guess, want for people to see her. But I love that it just shines through in everything she does. So in any moment, I mean, we talked about this earlier, like she they say something, religious, but instead she thinks of a monologue or like Shakespeare, and like she goes back on that. And so that was really cool. But she also kind of lives in this stupor too, where you're like, well, what is real? And so you could kind of understand how she can't really take away what's real and what's not even with acting, just in this moment that she's going through. So it's those scenes are really, really beautiful.
Thank you. And then she plays those scenes with her little boy, and she
Yeah.
teaches him Shakespeare. And she teaches him Shakespeare. He can't get it right, but she has to act. So she has this little 4-year-old when he's turning 5 acting out these scenes.
Yeah,
It's really funny. It's
she's
really sweet.
She's the dog involved as well, but yeah.
Right. We did have we've lots of people watching and excited for the book, and we have a question from Beth from Bookseller, who says, did your background in theater and as a playwright make developing characters and voices easier and or more enjoyable than other aspects of writing, the writing process, like plotting and atmosphere?
100%. And that's a really good question. And I'm not very good at plotting. I'm dreadful. And I'm not, and actually interesting about atmosphere, because I have to work very hard at kind of grounding the action in a place, because I'm all about voice. Yeah. So I think the acting training, and I did a lot of improvisation training, lends itself to stepping inside character. And what I do is I hear a voice and then run with it. That's, yeah. So no, it's a great character. I mean, it's a great question. And I think I am all about character. I'm all about voice. And the people that really excite me as writers, actually, like Humbert. I mean, dreadful man, but what a voice. Lolita Nabokov, and also Catcher in the Rye, and those kind of first person voices, they're not often captured, really, are they? I mean, it's hard. It seems to be hard to capture. Right. But I find it quite instinctive, that get right inside the skin and work from there. Yes. But it means that I'm dreadful on plot, and I have to write and rewrite and rewrite and rewrite and make a big mess and rewrite. So
yeah. Well, the voices are loud and clear. I think you were going to read a tiny little bit. Yes.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Where is it? Okay. I'll just read a tiny bit from the beginning. Okay. Because it's pretty self-explanatory. It's a moment of kind of mania and magic. There she is, lethal and irresistible, my high-kicking sidekick. And there goes that minx of a song, impossibly beautiful. And there is the sky so high and the light so bright and the sand warm velvet beneath the soles of my bare feet. And here comes the rush, an intense feeling of connection with all that is right and good in this world. My son's sticky hand in mine as he stares at the sky. My dog trotting alongside, his black coat glinting in the sunlight. Don't look directly at the sun, sweetheart. It burns your eyes. But yeah, you do it too. I bend to kiss him on the forehead over and over as he laughs and pretend wrestles me away. We look like everyone else as we skip down Sandymount Strand. Dogs and kids, a mark of normality. No, ma'am, but then that's not unusual these days. Tommy breaks free and he careens like a drunk. No, that won't do. Push that one away. Runs unsteadily towards the surf, the frothy tongues of water that lick the sand. Go, Herbie, go. Mind Tommy. The dog bounds after him, and the two of them frolic at the water's edge, and I feel wave after wave of delicious things, my body vibrating with them, fingertips electric, heat pulsing its way through me. So that's the upside, and then the downside comes.
Yeah, the high. Yep. Lainey, we have some questions in the chat room.
Yeah, we have lots of comments and questions. So Kim McGee, this is a beautiful comment, says, I just started this and I found myself holding my breath from one page to the next. You start off with a bomb and it just keeps going. So they're really,
Thank you.
And yeah, like Jennifer Winberry, our friend, said, I was exhausted in a good way by the end of the book, and I couldn't put it down. And I agree. You feel very exasperated with her. Like you feel like her losses are yours. So, and her wins, but, okay, so question. Okay, Maureen Roberts. So I asked this, you didn't write it during the pandemic, but that didn't really affect your characters. But it is interesting what you said about you now are kind of experiencing what you wrote about.
I think a lot of people are turning to alcohol, and with her, it's the white wine, and it's it's the middle class. Alcoholism doesn't attach itself to one class, but it's often written about, I think. This is the white wine, addiction that creeps up on women particularly, I think.
Yeah. That's a little sticky, the white wine. Right? It's not like somebody's swilling a bottle of rum. It's like, oh, that's white wine. Next thing you know.
Lethal.
Yeah. Katie Stover, just this lovely, I like books that give me a cardio workout without leaving my chair. That for you. Let's see. There was a question about how do you pick
Davis? Oh, no.
The names. How do you pick your names? Oh, I can't find the question.
From Valerie, it says, how do you choose the names of your characters?
Thanks.
No idea. I mean, Sonia is a Chekhov character, three sisters, or it's Uncle Vanya, sorry. And I remember Sonia's opening line is, there's a question to her, why do you always wear black? I'm in mourning for my life. What an amazing, sentence. And I thought, and she's highly theatrical and melancholic and all those things. So I thought Sonia's a great, I love, and I play with a little bit with her name and the idea of the Russian sensibility, linking in with the Irish sensibility and the actress sensibility. But the others I don't know. Little Tommy I guess it's quite an Irish name. Herbie, because I liked playing with the W. He plays a little fella that can't say his R's, so he said Herbie. But it's never conscious, really.
Yeah, just comes to you.
Yeah.
Casey Davis said, often when chatting up books on a topic such as addiction, it can be kind of off-putting, especially if you're a librarian, giving the book to someone. So what kind of book pitch would you recommend to ease someone into the story that deals with such a heavy topic?
I don't know, Virginia. No, all I can say is there is humor, and that was important to me. And listen, it is funny sometimes because it's hypersaturated, that world, hyperbolic, theatrical. She's all the things. So she's funny. There's also magic in Mania, funnily, and then there's also magic between her and her son. So I think all of those things make it not unbearable. Is that right, Virginia?
Yeah. Maureen Roberts says, why do you think the UK cover is so different than the US, and do you prefer one over the other?
Fascinating, isn't it? And we've no say. I have to say I adore the US cover. I love the kind of that, I was just saying, hypersaturated, and I love the colors and I love the sense of movement. So Sonia's kind of swirling, and I think that encapsulates what I was doing really with that psyche.
Can you talk about the title?
Right, Burning Things. Yes. For a long time, the working title was Overspill, which is much more on the nose because it's kind of like a generational impact of alcoholism. And I was looking at that. But I felt it needed something more poetic, more theatrical, a little bit more Shakespearean, I think, in keeping with the style of the book. And also little she is a bright burning thing. And little Tommy loves fire. He loves candles and flames, and he's already fascinated. His mama is a bright burning thing, and I often think, God, she's going to burn out if she doesn't learn to kind of quench herself a little bit, cool herself.
It's funny that you say that because I'm going all over the place here, but one of our questions is, it's Kim McGee. I really love the way you wrote the voice of Sonia, the way her life is abrupt, unfinished thoughts, jumbled with bright colors and jerky movements. It lets us picture them so well. She is so manic.
She's very manic. Yeah. She does get camera moments as the novel goes on, I think. Lainey's not sure.
No. I was going to say, can we talk about the audiobook? Because for our librarians, we have it in advance listener copy, so our librarians can listen prior to publication. And so that is available and you read it. So what was it like recording that, and did you?
That's really funny, Lainey, because I was in with the producer the other day recording an ad. The last time I was in with him was recording this book, and he said, my God, Lisa, you did not even breathe. And I have had some criticism, just to put up front, that I went too fast. I think I was channeling the mania, but I did need to breathe a little bit more, I think, but it was lovely because I was an actress and I knew her intimately, and I would have loved, I'm going to put it out there, I would have loved Jessie Buckley, who's this extraordinary Irish actress, and I think I would have loved her to do it, but I thought, well, in place of her, I don't want an actress to over egg her. I don't want anybody to play drunk, because that's not the reality. I want her to be intelligent, articulate. The way her mind works is very, very fast, and so yeah, I just thought I'll take it on myself. It was exhausting.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get that at all. I mean, I think that, and I mean, she is someone who thinks so far ahead, and she's trying to get these steps, but ironically, like, she's being held there to help her, but she's kind of suspended, like she can't do anything, and she's losing what she thinks is important. So I think that comes through perfectly. I don't think it was too fast at all, because that you feel her. That's how
well, if anybody comes across it and thinks, oh, it's very fast, just to let you know, the beginning is really, really fast. It's manic, but it does slow down a little bit, so you can kind of breathe a little bit more with it.
Yeah, I think, I'm not sure if we put if you go to Lainey, is the link in here to the?
It is. Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's lots of links in here, so you can check that out yourself. Keep in mind, because I read it and listened to it, and it is Sonia. It makes sense. It works when you understand who she is and what's going on in her head. Okay. So there's a question from Scarlett Sparkle Delia, and I apologize if I am mispronouncing your name, Scarlett. Who was the inspiration for the male psychologist, compelling character with his own demons?
Well, he is based on something I witnessed, and also somebody I let into my own life at a vulnerable time. I was kind of playing with the whole idea of boundaries and not understanding them, and so this man I didn't want him to be an outright villain. He's pretty villainous, but he's not an outright villain. He's damaged. He is working a program. He thinks he can help her, but actually he kind of steps in and he takes it's controlling. It's really controlling. And I just say one thing about that. I thought, I didn't know when I wrote that final scene, it was a bit abrupt, and it surprised me when Sonia said out. Very clearly, she kind of drew the line in the sand, and she was doubting herself and she was doubting her impulses and really nervous about her ability to mother. But she said to David, out. And that for me was a huge step in her recovery, because, she was learning to kind of understand, because she'd had a few relationships before that where, her boundaries were trampled on. And so she's learning to understand her own, I guess, healthy behavior, and though she doesn't know yet how to be in a healthy relationship with another, she's learning to be in one with herself. And I think ultimately, I just have to say this, I think ultimately this book is about somebody learning to mother themselves before they can be a mother to another. That was kind of ultimately what I think it's about.
So great. That's so great. Yep, perfectly said. That's what's, nothing's tied up. It's life. They're real people. What'd you say?
Messy.
Yes. Okay, we're just about out of time. But Lainey, I think there's a question from Janet Lockhart. Yes.
So Janet said she hasn't read the book yet, but from the discussion, it sounds like Sonia's experiences, she experiences a lot of highs. So do you think that the highs are attractive to her friends and they make her exciting, or a little bit dangerous to be around?
I think they're both. I think, but unfortunately for Sonia, her days of being on stage and having kind of a coterie around her and having her friends is over. So when we meet her, she's very isolated. she has driven a lot of people away. Ultimately, we know if something is as high as that, the low is going to be as low as that. So she needs to learn to balance herself out. Yeah, before she can really invite in more friends, I think, that are, more balanced themselves.
Yeah. Balance.
But she's attractive. Yeah. I mean, I'd be drawn into her orbit probably. Be like,
Dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah. A moth to the flame. Yeah.
Right.
Plan that outing.
Yeah. We've put a lot of links in here, NetGalley, so you can download it and read it. Some wonderful interviews that Lisa has done, and a great piece in Publishers Weekly that I highly recommend you read. When this is all about her publishing experience with this book and her agent and her editor. Bright Burning Things is being published by HarperCollins. The imprint is Harper Via, and so worth pointing out, and you can read more about that in the Publishers Weekly article. I think that we've gotten to good. They're requesting it from NetGalley. Good, Carlos Sudo, read
Great
it.
stuff.
Tell us what you think.
Thank you.
So Bright Burning Things goes on sale December 7th. There, you will be hearing more and more about this book from now until then, because it's everybody who reads it loves it and can't stop talking about it with good reason. So, Lainey, what are we showing? There's that fabulous.
And I haven't seen it yet, and apparently it's kind of sparkly, which I love.
Love, like her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Boy, oh boy.
Yeah.
There are some books that you just envy somebody who gets to read them for the first time, and for me, this is one of them. One of those books.
Virginia. And by the way, not everybody loves it, but that's okay.
Well, they're wrong.
That's okay too.
That's okay too. You know, I mean, that's what makes it all so.
I love the fact that you two love it. That's
Yeah. I was thinking, like, anytime I think it's so easy for books and movies to kind of say, like, oh, I have an alcoholic mother, and you kind of dismiss that thing or in their life. But I was just thinking about if I read or watch anything after this and someone has that person in their life, all I'm going to think about is all the emotion, and it's just not, it's so much more complicated, and that person goes through a lot. And so love that.
So right, Lainey, and I think little Tommy faces quite a challenge in his life. I might come back to him later. I don't know, but he does.
Yeah. It's nuanced, and she's deep, and it's not just they have a disease, move on. It's something that is
yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's a powerful book, and a novel that people can read it and read into it, and there's a lot of takeaways here. So thank you so much for bringing these characters to readers, and for sharing this story with all of us, and so excited to hear what happens next with this book. So more to come, and people read it because it's really wonderful. And again, lots of links in here to check out some really terrific interviews that you've done in the PW piece. And Lisa, before we go, I just don't want to log you off before. Is there anything else that you want to say, or if you don't, that's fine.
No, it was a real delight to meet you both, and thank you. I really enjoyed this, and it was lovely to meet everybody out there, even though I can't see you. But thank you for coming, and
thank you.
I appreciate your support, Virginia and Lainey. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you, and thank Faye.
Little
she wakes
Faye,
up from her nap.
She's 17. She's sleeping a lot.
Oh, God bless her. That's
know.
Fantastic.
She's amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so while we are going to close up our interview with Lisa, we'd like you to hang on for just a few more minutes, because we want to talk to you all about just a couple of things. So Lisa, thank you so much. Be well, take good care.
Yeah.
And it would be so lovely to meet you in person one day.
Be amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Will I leave now?
You can leave now. You can stay, Lainey. I don't know how that works technologically.
Do I
we
leave
have
or
things
stay,
to share.
Lainey?
Well, you're always welcome, but you're welcome to log off.
Okay. No, I'll stay.
Okay. Yeah, we just have some housekeeping stuff. So, but we
Okay.
would love to have you. Yeah.
So Lainey, you want to share some of the things that we're hang on, guys. Now don't you librarians run away. Sit tight.
We have this e-card to share. Yeah.
So Lainey, I hand it over to you.
Oh, well, this is our lead read title for the season, All Her Little Secrets by Wanda and Morris. Look at that amazing Karen Slaughter quote. And we just wanted to remind everybody about it. It will blow you away. We're all, well, when we had Chris, sadly, we were all three big fans of this book. He's still a big fan. He's just not here right now. And so I really wanted to put it back on your radar. Make sure you go download an eGalley on Edelweiss or NetGalley and take a read. Votes are coming up, so we just don't want it to fall off, and we want to remind you guys, it is truly, truly a wonderful book. It's like that line says, a Black lawyer. She works for she's a corporate attorney. She shows up and her boss has been found dead, and so now she's got to put some secrets in her past away. She's afraid that's going to come to light. So she kind of runs away, even though she didn't have anything to do with it. And that might get her in a little more trouble than just telling the truth in the first place. But it goes back and forth between the present and the past. And it's really, really wonderful. And then fun fact, I actually know Wanda. We're really good friends. And so I invited her on the podcast. So we have a little clip from that, and you guys want to hear that?
Take a listen. Just a couple secs.
Yeah. Our librarians love this book so much, and it's an amazing one, and I can't wait to see what the next book holds.
Oh, thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. I'm not going to lie, after you read it and, you sent me back an email, you're like, this is so good. And I was like, she's just saying that because of her roommate's mom. It's like, I never should have given it to her.
No.
But you were so forthright, though. I mean, you said this looks really good. And I remember distinctly, I don't know if you remember this, at one point I thought about changing something in the book, and it was the opening. I don't know, do you remember this? And I was like,
Yeah.
I got some comments back from beta readers, and they were like, I think you should do this. And I was like, oh, maybe they know. And I remember telling you, and you were like, I wouldn't do that if I were you. And I said to myself, Lainey knows what she's talking about. My beta reader works over in, the blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to listen to Lainey, and I'm glad I did, so I didn't change it.
Yeah, that first line, I think it's the one kind of after the first couple pages, like the prelude, but like that first line, I was like, oh, you got a good line. Like, you got to keep that. So that was I had a lot of fun doing that interview, and it's not because I know her. This book is really, really good, and she just happened to finish it and send it my way, and I was like, you never know what you're going to get from someone who does that, and this is a really, really great read. So please listen to that interview. We had a lot of fun. She's the most lovely person, but also the read is there. And so I just really encourage you to.
I'm just going to. Uh-oh. What was that?
Sorry, did that come
Oh, that's
through?
okay. You're fine. Don't worry. You're good.
I'm totally fine.
Yeah. I'm just going to say that Lainey has put us on the map with podcasts. That interview between Lainey and Wanda Morris is so good. I was listening to it in my car, and I actually drove past my street. I'm not kidding. I had to pull over, and then I called her, and I was like, that's the best interview I've ever heard, because they know each other. And Lainey has been with this manuscript from the beginning. And Wanda is everything Lainey said. She's just a lovely person, but in addition to that, she's a fantastic writer. And there's a reason this is our lead read. I mean, we only pick one book a season, and this is a debut novel. It's really good. It's really important. It's about a woman who is she's working for this firm, and she doesn't see anyone really in the higher ups that look anything like her. And there's a reason for that. there's a lot going on in this book, and we can't stress enough how much we love it. So if you have read it, thanks, and if you haven't, we hope to take a look at it, because we'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And yeah, I just can't say enough about it. So
I
if
know
you're,
people in
if
the
you're
comments love it. So
I'm sorry, Elaine. What?
yeah, like let us know if you've read it and you love it. Put it in the comments. We would love to hear. So
Yeah, and if you're the voting kind, library reads. You have until October 1st. So yeah, we're just. Is there anything else we were going to show, Lainey?
just one quickly, we have another Facebook, Instagram takeover by Jack Guinness, the Queer Bible. He's the editor of this, and there's essays by some major people in this, and it's a really, really great collection. So he very graciously has offered to take over our Instagram. So that's on Friday. Come join us, and all that information will be going up on social very shortly, but you got a sneak peek right now. So
yeah, Elton John. Okay, I think we've covered everything. Lisa, I'm so glad you hung out. Lisa's still here.
I'm dying to read that book.
Oh, we'll send it to you. So,
Thank you. Yeah, dying to read it.
all
Fabulous.
right. Yeah, it's terrific. It's really wonderful. And she actually appeared on the cover of the August issue of Library Journal. She was at the American Library. We got her out there. She's terrific. She's just a terrific person and a hell of a writer. Well, that's it, friends. It's 2:52, and I guess we're gonna say goodbye.
yeah,
Right, Lainey?
quickly on Library Love Fest, you can see the journal, like the library journal cover, and all of that stuff's on Library Love Fest. So just
Yeah.
And I love Karen Slaughter as well, or Karen Slaughter.
Yeah.
Well, I will say just one last thing, because I can't shut up about this, is that there are so many raves about this book from authors that you know and love. In addition to Karen Slaughter, Alifair Burke calls it a stunning debut. Wendy Corsi Staub says it's a rare debut novel that doesn't miss a beat, expertly plotted, beautifully written, so compelling I read it in one sitting. Alison Galen, expertly paced thriller, terrific twists, as well as depth, heart, and conscience. Oh, it goes on. Hank Philippi Ryan. It just goes on and on and on. Of course, Lori Raider Day, who is their friends. They know each other. Lori taught the Yale Writers Workshop, and Wanda was a student there, and we did a Facebook Live, and we can throw that link in there as well. But she just says all her little secrets heralds the arrival of a new and necessary voice in thrillers. This debut is at turns heart-pounding and heartbreaking. So that's just a fraction of the love out there for this book. And now I will stop.
I look forward to reading it.
Yay! Lisa will send you a copy.
Thank you.
And we'll send Wanda a copy of Bright Burning Things.
Please do. Yeah.
And
lovely
please,
to connect with her.
Yeah, she's wonderful, as are you. Thank you again so much for today.
All
right, everyone. We'll take good care, be well, and we'll see you next week. Who knows what we'll be doing? We'll be doing something fun. Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.